What good folks, it's Dark319 and welcome back to another What If, and I believe this is What If Naruto was a Sith Lord part 4, so like, comment, subscribe and share, but besides all that, enjoy the video. Chapter 8: Surprising Encounters. It had been 3 long years since Naruto had helped orchestrate the destruction of the Leaf, Orochimaru, and helped the Mist Village become the power that the Shinobi Village was always meant to be. During that time, Naruto had spent countless hours integrating the new forces taken from the now destroyed Leaf into Mist, and it was most tiring. Not everyone taken from Konoha were willing to join the very village that was responsible for the annihilation of the one they called home. Naruto knew that would happen, as it was always a case with people strong-willed, and loved their home despite the truth behind that home not being so good. It took all the skills he had in persuasion he learned from the Emperor to make them see things from his point of view. How the leaf was poisoned by those within that ran the village, citing several examples in terms of the late Uchiha Sasuke getting what he wanted when others from different clans were denied the same thing, and how they treated several people wrong for something that wasn't their fault. Again, Naruto cited examples using his own situation, and Mitarashi Anko currently free of her curse seal now that Orochimaru was deceased. It wasn't easy to get the former branch family of the Hyuga clan on his side, as he had freed them from their cage bird seals and arranged for them to set up the Hyuga clan in Mist under the stipulation that the cage bird seal never be used. The branch family had no problem with that, but they were concerned about who the clan head would be, and were a bit worried that either of Hyoshi's daughters would take that position. Hinata was appalled by the use of the cage bird seal the moment she saw it used on one of the branch members when she was younger, and made her kin know that such barbaric times were not going to happen to their clan. Hanabi was the same way, though she had gone along with her late father's ways simply to avoid the cage bird seal herself, but had also opposed the use of the seal, and wished for the family to be whole again. With that being resolved, Naruto focused on the Inuzuka clan, and the Aburame clan, knowing that their support of being in Mist would hold a lot of sway with the people from Konoha still on the fence in pledging their loyalty to another village. The Aburame clan was easily more willing to join Naruto's side in Mist due to their sense of logic being second to none in the world. They also saw this as a chance to explore their new surroundings and possibly acquire new insects in Water Country to add to their colonies and their clan homes. As for the Inuzuka clan, they were more stubborn since they felt village loyalty was something of a badge of honor to them, and to serve one's conquerors felt like a sting on such honor. Naruto told them how it could be when it was clear the people of Konoha would rather embrace a boy descended from a clan of traitors than a clan that embraced loyalty. When the clan head Inuzuka Tsume questioned him about it, Naruto presented her with information about the Uchiha clan massacre that had been covered up from the start, and how it should have renamed the failed Uchiha clan rebellion. Naruto also pointed out that his life was wronged by those same people that covered it up despite what his father, the Yondaime Hokage himself, did to save the village from the Kyuubi in the first place. That it was unfair to punish the innocent while the guilty fed upon their suffering each day and without mercy from them, because to do so would threaten their power. In Naruto's mind, the Inuzukas had bled for people that didn't deserve their loyalty, and should only give to those that do. Tsume agreed and helped get the rest of her clan on board in joining Mist from that time on. The remains of Team 9, that was Guy's team, found themselves integrating rather well despite the loss of their teammate Hyuga Neji, as they took to Mist almost like fish do with swimming in water, and Guy was teaching taijutsu to a wide variety of students at the academy now. With the Manjunan shelved at the time, Naruto felt each of the Jounin students should take on teachings away from Guy until a third candidate for their team arrived. Lee wasn't thrilled with that at first, since Guy was like a father to him as well as a sensei, but Naruto told him that while taijutsu was good, taijutsu mixed with swordsmanship was even better, and it would just be considered more hard work in terms of being a shinobi. Needless to say, Lee wanted to get the best sword instructor he could, and was beginning to spend rigorous hours of intense swordsmanship training. Tenten took to her training with joy, as she was already skilled with weapons, and used her time in Mist to further expand those skills to new heights. She found herself learning from Naruto in the way of swordsmanship in the lightsaber form 2 stance he used to defeat her at the Chunin exam prelims. In Konoha, "Naruto-kun, come back to bed," said Haku, as she walked over to the meditating young man, and wrapped her arms around his shoulder. What could Naruto say about Haku during these 3 years? Nothing that he'd repeat in front of Jiraiya without giving the Toad Sanin perverted thought and then having to castrate the man for putting it in his orange books. Zabuza hadn't been exactly pleased with Haku wanting to be with the spiky-haired force user, but Haku was an adult now, and to deny her the man she wanted to be with would mean he didn't trust her decision to be with him. That and Haku would turn the demon of the mist in pincushion for being overprotective. So with Zabuza's reluctant blessing, Haku moved into Naruto's home fully, and the two became lovers ever since. Yes, Naruto-kun. We so miss your warm body cuddling with ours, said Anko, as she joined her fellow sister in trying to bring the young stud of a man back to bed, and to cuddle before they had some early morning fun. Anko didn't consider herself to be Naruto lover like Haku had been until a year in living in his estate in Mist, since she considered their relationship to be that of friends with benefits. She still wasn't used to being trusted like Naruto was doing with her, but that changed when the young Namikaze asked her if she liked to be more than what they were at the time, and Anko had been hesitant to admit she did. She wasn't much for the whole relationship bonding due to how the Leaf had treated her after Orochimaru went rogue and everyone saw him when they saw her. Naruto had helped the nervous woman using therapy with the help of the Force to soothe her doubts, and soon after had gone into one incredible sexual frenzy after her doubts were washed away. "I'm sorry. I thought after last night you two deserved some rest," said Naruto, as he saw Anko grinning, and sensed Haku smiling behind him with both women having their arms wrapped around his waist. "How sweet of you, Naruto-kun. But it's even sweeter to have you with us when waking up, and feeling your hot body against ours," said Anko, as she knew the other girls in Naruto's life like Mei, and Hinata would kill for time with him. Though that didn't mean Naruto himself couldn't visit on occasion and spend some much desired, quality time with them when they had it. Unfortunately, Hinata would have to wait a few more years until Hanabi was officially old enough to take over the Hyuga clan, and Mei was currently on a different shift of work hours than Naruto. The two had become very fond of Naruto during the 3 years that followed Konoha's destruction and eventually became more than friends during that time. The same could be said for his servant Tsuchiken, who had become the official maid of the Namikaze estates, and was also another lover of Naruto's that he made sure would be a strong defender of his home. Since Kin was skilled in the arts of Senbon, Haku would teach her the skills needed to use them with deadly accuracy, and Anko would help with the girls' taijutsu, since the serpent-style Orochimaru taught his failed student was still considered one of the deadliest forms to date. As for Tuya, she found herself being with Onizuka Kiba, and the two had hit it off in a strange love-slash-hate relationship that somehow resulted in the two becoming lovers, with the jury being out on who was the alpha. Inuzuka Tsume liked her because the red-headed girl just had that terrifying effect to keep Kiba in line, and yet the young man was also able to keep Tuya in check too when it came to being vocal. There was also the business Naruto had to attend to when he worked, as he had to help Kimimaro with being around women, and finding potential wives to help restore his clan to greatness. It wasn't easy considering Kimimaro was more of an expert on combat than he was women, and it didn't help Jiraiya tried to corrupt him with his damn orange book of smut. The albino Kaguya had already found one potential future wife in Kumo's own Karu of Team Samui, and using the Force Naruto sensed the two would indeed be happy together in being a family. Another possibility was Tsunade's own assistant Shizune, who had interactions with Kimimaro on several occasions for medical checkups that Naruto insisted the man, and any member of his clan take to be safe in terms of the lung disease that the Kaguya clan had suffered from in the past. Tsunade didn't like Kimimaro being around Shizune, but it was clear the two had some kind of bond, and Naruto suggested that they see what became of it. Though Tsunade still vowed to crush Kimimaro's balls should he break Shizune's heart. The next woman to consider was Inuzuka Hana, who Naruto believed would be perfect for a man like Kimimaro, and was right when the woman was out walking her dogs in the park where the two met. Kimimaro had made 3 bones come out of his body to let each of the dogs have one to chew on, and Hana instantly fell in love with the man with approval from the woman's mother after fighting the Inuzuka clan head in combat to prove his worth. "I'll try to remember that," said Naruto, as he smiled at the woman, and kissed her before turning his head to kiss Haku. It would be a good morning for all 3 of them. Mizukage Tower later in the day. "You're sure about this? I know how much your lovers hate it when you leave or not tell them anything," said Zabuza, as he saw Naruto nodding his head, and his face was clearly troubled. "While we've achieved a level of prosperity never before witnessed in Mist after Konoha was destroyed, we can't let it go to our heads, and I sense a key to the continuation of the village being strong lies somewhere in Water Country. Though for us to achieve it, I must find it, alone," said Naruto, as he saw Zabuza frown at him, and knew the demon of the mist was skeptical of that. "But why you? Or rather, why just you? Does this have something to do with your cosmic force feeding you visions?" said Zabuza, as he was never going to really embrace the whole force thing, even if he had seen some crazy shit since Naruto became his right-hand man, and helped out on various missions. "I've been having some visions lately. In them I'm walking through a gray and I stumble upon an underground tomb belonging to a powerful force user. I don't know if he or she was a Jedi or Sith. What I do know is that there is a good chance this person left behind some form of knowledge, and could be useful to me in my training. Remember, I may wield the power of a master, but I still have much to learn, and need to learn more if I one day wish to teach a new generation," said Naruto, as he was hoping to have children one day, and teach them what he learned. So you're grave robbing? Said Zabuza with a raised eyebrow that couldn't be seen due to the hair for it not existing. In way, yeah I am. Believe it or not, Jedi and Sith have never really minded it so long as the robber in question is someone willing to learn whatever lessons left behind to teach, said Naruto since he knew that much. I'll never understand these people, said Zabuza shaking his head in disbelief. You're not the only one. I'll only be gone a few days if not a few weeks since I have a significant amount of land to cover, said Naruto since water country was pretty massive unto itself. How do you even know this tomb you're looking for is even in water country? For all you know it could be in wind, sound, or Kami help you in rock country near Iwa, said Zabuza, as he saw Naruto smirking at him, and knew the young man had some idea of where to go. Because my oh-so eyebrow-lacking Mizukage, in the vision, I was at a place near the tomb where plants that only live here in the environment of water country, said Naruto seeing Zabuza fuming at the eyebrow comment. Don't mention my eyebrows, said Zabuza growled out. I didn't. I mentioned the lack of your eyebrows. Big difference, said Naruto before his head was disconnected by Zabuza's sword and then the boy went poof to indicate he was a shadow clone. You're lucky Haku's loves you brat because it's the only reason I don't tear your guts out, said Zabuza before going back to his paperwork. Namikaze estate sometime later, what do you mean you're leaving on a solo mission? Said Anko, as she clung to the young Namikaze, and practically trying to be his second skin so he'd have to take her with him. It's a mission I need to take for myself regarding a vision I've been having for the past few days. I'm not going too far Anko-chan. I'll be back when I can, said Naruto, as he saw Anko pout, and look sad, until he pinched her rear. Fine. But when you get back, you're staying home to be with us, and only be free from that bed to eat or shower, said Anko, as she poked at his chest, and he just grinned at her. I look forward to it, said Naruto giving Anko a kiss before heading to the bedroom to get his supplies. This is more serious than you let on, said Haku, as she could always read him the best out of all his lovers, and saw him nod his head. You know how I told you the stories of the Emperor and how he used the Force to see visions of the future? He also taught me a more advanced version that not even the Jedi know and how to see what happens in the aftermath of events we see depending on the situation. If I don't head to this place, I see Miss slowly decaying again, and a shadowy figure looming over the village swallowing it in darkness with the moon being eclipsed over the world with a single eye looking down at everyone. Something is coming Haku-chan and it threatens to destroy or enslave all that I cherish, said Naruto, as he finished packing what he needed, and turned to see Haku looking in the eyes with worry. What did the eye look like? Said Haku seeing him frown in confusion at the vision. It was like the Sharingan, but different. It was the Sharingan and yet it wasn't. Like the Sharingan and another eye-based bloodline coming together to create something far more powerful than either one alone, said Naruto seeing Haku embrace him in a hug. You think it could be the rogue Uchiha Itachi you saw with the eye? Said Haku, as the only other Uchiha left in the world to her knowledge was Itachi, and the man was part of some kind of organization to capture people like her Naruto-kun along with Yugito. Maybe. Though I doubt it. I sense he is a key to finding the source of the true villain. In any case, I want you to have Zabuza send a letter to the Reikage, telling him about the need to protect Yugito and Killer Bee from the Akatsuki organization Jiraiya told us about. That Yugito should move here to the Namikaze estates where she will be under the protection of her most trusted friends, said Naruto, as he didn't doubt the Reikage's ability to protect Yugito, but Kumo wasn't fond of their demon vessels like Mist was with him, and the people around the Namikaze liked the Nibi vessel considerably. And her lovers, said Haku added since she along with Yugito were more embracing the fact they were in fact bisexual, in no small thanks to Anko, and knew the other woman wouldn't mind being among intimate friends. That too, said Naruto kissing the woman in front of him before he left the room. I should have told him, but then he would be distracted, and I'm not even sure, thought Haku, as she saw Naruto leave, and knew that what she was going to tell him was bound to happen with all the times they were in bed together. That she was possibly pregnant with Naruto's child. Is everything alright Haku-sama? Said Kin, as she came into the room after giving Naruto a goodbye kiss, and went into the room to do some cleaning before seeing the worried look on Haku's face. No Kin-chan. I just wish Naruto-kun wouldn't leave on this mission. Sometimes I think he pushes himself so hard in protecting us that he's burning himself out, said Haku, as she had seen on occasion the young Namikaze doing that, and saw him trying to hide it by spending what time he did have with her or his fellow lovers. Haku could only hope that when Naruto returned from his journey, he would rest his body, and enjoy more of what life had to offer. Missed prison hours later Hatake Kakashi sat in his prison cell, a shell of his former self, and wondered why he hadn't been executed or killed yet. Was this the end? To waste away in the cell until he became a corpse? Maybe he did deserve it. He had betrayed his father for not supporting him when the man needed it most. Kakashi had betrayed his sensei by denouncing the Yondaime's own son. The former Leaf Jounin had done much that went against the words he taught others to live by. "Still alive, Atake?" said Naruto, as he came to the cell door, and looked at the man before him. "More or less." "Tell me, why are you here?" said Kakashi, as he saw Naruto looking at him with those eyes that screamed power, and a deadly edge that made his body want to shiver. "Just to visit. I can visit my father's last student, can't I?" said Naruto mockingly, seeing the former Jounin narrow his only eye due to the Sharingan the man possessed no longer being in his skull. "You haven't for the last 3 years since the leaf was destroyed." "What's changed?" said Kakashi with a raised eyebrow. "No reason." "How do you like your prison?" said Naruto, as he saw Kakashi look from one side of the cell, and then the other. "Can't really complain." "Not that anyone would listen if I did," said Kakashi casually. "True. Then again, you should have realized this was the outcome of being trapped by the enemy. Suffocating slowly at the hands of people that hate you," said Naruto, seeing the realization hit Kakashi. "This is how you felt inside when it came to the leaf growing up," said Kakashi simply. "Correct. Growing up, I suffocated under the leaf when I should have breathed clearly and freely without fear of being persecuted. My mother didn't suffocate because of the Kyuubi, so why should I?" said Naruto, seeing Kakashi look at him with surprise. "Kushina had the Kyuubi sealed inside of her?" said Kakashi in surprise. "You didn't know, did you? That my mother was the second vessel of Kyuubi. That the Shadaime's wife that was my kin was the first, and that she passed it down to my mother," said Naruto, seeing the shock on Kakashi's face. "No. No one knew. The only people who could have known were Minato, the Sandaime Jiraiya, and the Sandaime's wife, since she was responsible for helping Kushina during her pregnancy," said Kakashi, remembering how the Sandaime's wife died during that time and the former Leaf Shinobi thought it was due to the Kyuubi attacking. "That's because they knew what would happen if the people learned of what my mother held would make her become hated. She would have been turned into weapons of war. Nothing more than common pets to be trained, fed, and housed like animals defending their master's home. I intend to put an end to such nonsense," said Naruto, as he saw Kakashi shake his head, and acting like it was impossible. "It can't be done. Not even by you. Your plan may have the support of others, Naruto, but there are people in the world that will oppose your actions and try to keep the status quo the same. I don't believe you can win," said Kakashi before looking at Naruto. "That is why you and the leaf failed," said Naruto, as he left Kakashi to be left alone with his thoughts, and to start his own journey. "Akatsuki home base, so it's been confirmed then. All the vessels are located and known," said Pain shortly after his projection went up. "Yes. It wasn't easy, but they are where we thought they were. Except for the three-tailed demon, we're almost ready to proceed and hunt the others down," said Kisame, as his projection came up, and Itachi's doing the same right next to him. "What about the Kyuubi vessel? With the leaf destroyed, we're having problems in terms of filling the gap and making ourselves known," said Itachi, as the organization had been thinned for a while, and the last 3 years had made things difficult. "He's in mist. It's also said he wields strange powers and weapons beyond our own. Don't underestimate him. There is a reason the Sandaime Hokage and the leaf no longer stand in Fire Country," said Pain, as he saw the two nod and vanish. "It will take a few more months before the three-tailed demon re-emerges after Yagura's death," said Konan, knowing that the man's death had happened ahead of schedule and they would have to fight the three tails in all its greatness on the water where it had the advantage. "Kisame will handle that after we deal with the others per our schedule. Once we have the needed tailed beasts in the order required, then we'll begin the extraction sequence and be one step closer to our goal," said Pain, seeing Konan nod slightly. "When do you wish to go after Suna's demon vessel?" said Konan, knowing that the two assigned to the job would be in position shortly to head there. "Not for a little while longer. The time is not yet right to strike," said Pain, knowing that things had to be timed perfectly for this to work. When it did, the world would bow before its new god. Water Country. Several days later, with Naruto, the young Namikaze man walked through the one of many dense forest regions of Water Country, feeling the force flow all around him, singing like the grand orchestra back on Coruscant. It was one of the few things Naruto missed, as a young hand in training, and would often watch over the now late Emperor from the shadows. The aged Sith Master attended such things in his private booth, trying to teach Naruto about culture and the more civilized arts that many take for granted. "Maybe I shouldn't have destroyed my ship. I could have taken Haku there and shown her some of what I've seen," thought Naruto, as he kicked himself mentally for destroying his ship, and wondered if he would ever get a chance to get off planet to head to the center of the galaxy to see that wonderful city-covered world again. If not, Naruto could always show his lovers what he saw using the Force, and hope they loved it just like he did. Stopping suddenly, Naruto closed his eyes, feeling the Force singing its loudest at this very spot, and the one he had from his visions told him the underground tomb was here. The steps were buried under years of dirt, insects, and weather over the lost centuries before the shinobi villages came forth to this world. Raising his hand, Naruto parted the ground around him using the Force, and activated one of his lightsaber to provide the light needed to enter the dark tomb. As he walked, the young man sensed this place had once belonged to someone strong in the Force, yet he sensed the person was conflicted in terms of which side of the Force to serve, and if there really was truly a side. Naruto knew that many masters over the many long thousands of years had experimented with the idea of using both sides, with it being the only supposed evil Jedi and Sith could agree could not exist. It was possible this person had been hunted by both sides, and this tomb was their final resting place with whatever knowledge was left behind for the right student to use it. Walking through the corridor, he saw a door not that far away right in front of him, and entered to see a large statue of a robed figure, indicating this was indeed the tomb of a powerful Force user. At the base of the figure was an urn, several lightsabers of various designs, and what appeared to be a Jedi holocron. Holding the object in his hand, the cube glowed white before it projected the imprinted form of its creator, and was surprised to see just who it was that made this object of knowledge. It was Darth Revan. And yet the person in this form was not Sith, but dressed in Jedi robes, and did not appear to be touched by the dark side. "Welcome, young one. I am Jedi Master Revan," said Revan, smiling at the shocked young man before him. "Hello, Master Revan. I am Namikaze Naruto," said Naruto, knowing that holocrons like this one were interactive with their students. "Hello, Naruto. What has brought you here to my tomb?" said Revan, motioning for the boy to sit on the ground in meditation position with his own holographic form doing the same. "The Force actually, Master Revan. The galaxy has been pretty hectic since your time in it amongst the living," said Naruto, seeing Revan nod, knowing that it would. "I suspected as much before my death. I didn't expect the galaxy to simply stop and pause at my death when it happened. From the way you are dressed in crimson robes that are clearly not Jedi nor Sith, I take it much has happened since my death, and you are very much surprised to find this Jedi holocron on a world like this," said Revan, seeing Naruto nod. "You could say that. It was rumored that you made another holocron specifically for the ways of the Sith ages ago, so you can see why I'm a bit surprised to see a Jedi version of you here in this tomb," said Naruto, seeing Revan put his hand to his chin in thought. "It is possible I made another for the Sith. From what I can recall of my life since my own mental imprinting here on this holocron, I lost my memories of the days when I became a Sith, and chose to leave known space for a life away from the Republic. After I left for the Outer Rim near the unknown regions, I came to this world to rediscover myself in the Force, and to find a new place in the galaxy. It was only after countless years wandering throughout this world helping others, becoming an old man in the process, that I realized that the galaxy didn't need me so much anymore, and I prepared for my inevitable end, with this holocron being my only legacy to be found by someone like yourself," said Revan, seeing Naruto nod in understanding. "You didn't have lovers? Children to call your own?" said Naruto, surprised someone like Revan would do such a thing. "I couldn't exactly settle down here like that, Naruto. Simply because the woman I loved wouldn't have understand what I was, and no doubt be frightened to know I wasn't from this world. Even the children I were to sire would be too unstable for this world to handle, since their powers would bring about the attention of those that wish to abuse them," said Revan, as the people during his time on this world had prevented such a bloodline-based legacy, and saw Naruto think about such an action. "Times really have changed since you've been around. That's not the case anymore with this world using chakra and dealing with the nine-tailed demons that used to roam the world," said Naruto, before explaining that to Revan, with the Jedi Master being impressed with the world changing like that. "That is most interesting. But we're getting off track about why you are here, young one. Now tell me, what is it you seek, and why you seek it?" said Revan, as he saw Naruto look grim, and began telling the Holocron Project Jedi Master everything about what the Force was telling him about the future. "It's not that I want this power out of greed, but I need it in order to protect those I care about, and from something on par with the cruelty of the Sith. I need to learn how to use the Force to be offensive and defensive when the time requires them to be," said Naruto, as he saw Revan look away for a second, and then back at him. "When I fought for the Republic, I tried to be noble like the Jedi kept telling us we should be, and fought for the Galactic government when the Mandalorians started their war. The Jedi Council told us to wait, be patient before rushing into anything, and see what the future held for us. When they told us to wait, I looked over battle reports, casualty rates, and heard the cries for help through the Force where the Jedi on the Council chose to ignore them. When I fought the Mandalorians, I fought with a purpose to fight for the Republic with everything I had, and didn't care what the Jedi Council thought of me for doing so. In the end, we'd crush our enemy, but the Republic and the Jedi Council had practically denounced us into becoming Sith by going into battle continuously while giving into our bloodlust in the process. While some of us no doubt had fallen, they were not willing to betray me, and simply go to war despite the dark side running through their bodies. They were loyal to me more than they were to the influences of the dark side and would have eventually changed had the Jedi not attempted a preemptive strike with the fleet they had that would start the Jedi Civil War, said Revan, as he went on further to explain how the galaxy suffered much from that, and led the Jedi Master to become a Sith after embracing the Jedi's betrayal with his own military of battle-hardened soldiers fighting for him. What does this have to do with my problem? Said Naruto, not understanding why Revan told him this. It doesn't. I'm simply telling you this, Naruto, because it's important to know that just because you fight for all the right reasons doesn't mean that the aftermath of victory will be what you're expecting, and be mindful of your actions. I learned that from the various masters that taught me from in my early days in being a Jedi, and I passed down this bit of knowledge because it's a key importance to any battle you're in. Every action you take has a long-lasting consequence that echoes throughout the Force and those around you that witness what it is you do in life. They will each see things from their point of view and judge you based on their own beliefs that they were raised to embrace that could possibly conflict with your own. You need to think from both sides and then choose just which path is the best path while dealing with your own conscience when making such crucial decisions. From the look in your eyes, there have been people who have made bad decisions and thought they were the best ones at the time, said Revan, seeing the young man nod his head. Yeah, you could say that, said Naruto, seeing the Jedi Master look at him with kind eyes. You still have much to learn, young one. You have power, but not the knowledge needed to take it to the level it was meant to be, and use to its fullest potential, said Revan, seeing the young Namikaze admit that as well. Would you teach me? I've had some experience with holocrons before, and I know that the training is entirely up to you at your discretion, said Naruto, seeing the Jedi Master nod his head. When the student is ready, the Master will appear to teach. You are my student, and I am the Master. You will learn what I teach you and only what I give you until I believe you're ready to learn anything else. Understand? Said Revan, seeing Naruto nod with a serious look on his face. Yes, Master Revan. I humbly accept myself as your apprentice, said Naruto, bowing his head to the Jedi Master projected on the holocron. Good. Your training begins now, said Revan, as he began to teach Naruto all that he knew, and would indeed be a cruel taskmaster. Revan would soon show Naruto why he was considered among the best Jedi Master the galaxy had to offer. Chapter 9, Calling in Help. Naruto hadn't been seen for several weeks, and it was making the people close to him very nervous. Jiraiya's spies and the Akatsuki that they didn't have him. Quite a small mercy for the women in his life who loved the blonde Force user, but it didn't make things easier on them, and it was even discussed with Zabuza that they should search for the Uzumaki. The Mizukage said no to it since he wanted to have faith in the blonde and the fact that he would indeed return to Mist still healthy and wiser than when leaving for the lost tomb of knowledge Naruto had spoke to him about. Hurry up and return soon, Naruto. Haku's getting all moody over something, thought an annoyed Zabuza, currently working on paperwork by himself after Mei caught him with Icha Paradise again while a shadow clone did it. Back to Haku, the man began to notice the change in the girl, and wondered what it was exactly that made her be in such a mood. The other women in the Namikaze clan were being tight-lipped about it, and if there was one thing the Demon of the Mist didn't want to fight, it was Moody Woman or her fellow sister in the clan harem. Besides, they were ultimately Naruto's problem, and Zabuza didn't envy the kid. Speak the devil's name and he shall appear, Zabuza, whispered the hooded figure that was Naruto from the shadows, and nearly gave the Mizukage a heart attack. Ah. Damn Itagaki, don't do that, yelled Zabuza while getting in Naruto's face and looking pissed off in the process. You should pay better attention to your surroundings, replied Naruto with a smirk on his face behind the crimson hood. I take it your mission was a success? Asked Zabuza before slumping into his chair. Naruto walked over to his desk and revealed in his hands the small square Jedi holocron of Jedi Master Revan. That and more. This ancient source of knowledge locked in this Jedi holocron is worth so much every Force user in the galaxy would kill to possess, answered Naruto before putting the object away. Didn't look like much to me, stated Zabuza with Naruto once more smirking. It's not the size cube that matters, Zabuza. It's the contents of knowledge within it that's more valuable than this entire planet. If the Sith still existed in vast numbers, they would have fought tooth and nail against everyone trying to stand in their way of having it in their possession. Trust me on that, replied Naruto, and gave the man a look that told the Mizukage he wasn't joking. I trust you, Naruto. I've seen you enough stuff in the past few years from the time I first met you up until now to know not to doubt your words, answered Zabuza before the sound of a stampede was heard coming from outside of the room and heading towards them. When the door opened, Naruto along with Zabuza saw all of Naruto's girlfriends enter the room, seeing their boyfriend after weeks of no contact, and instantly leapt on him. The Mizukage found it amusing that Naruto stumbled a bit while the large pile of women were on him, kissing his face, and groping his body, and whispering all sorts of things into his ear. Was Zabuza envious? Hell yes. Was he going to say anything to them? No. Not unless he wanted to risk the wrath of the women wanting time with their man and it being ruined by his big mouth. I've missed you girls. I'm sorry it took so long to come back, said Naruto and was able to put their feet gently on the ground with all of them still hugging her. Why were you gone for so long? Do you know how hard it is to orgasm using toys when I've had your thing inside my body spoiling me silly? Exclaimed Anko while she poked Naruto's chest with Zabuza now blushing and leaking blood from his nose. Sorry Anko, but I have not used, nor will I ever use such, items for that purpose. But that doesn't mean I haven't ached for your touch Anko, or any of yours my himes, said Naruto and they all gushed at his words before hugging him while pressing his head into the sea of breasts before him. By this point, Zabuza did pass out from blood loss, and was buried under paperwork. It hurt. Let's go home. You need your rest Naruto-kun, came Mei's voice into his ear and Naruto shivered with anticipation at the thought of what was going to happen when he got home. Also, Haku-chan has something important to tell you, came Hinata, as she saw Haku looking nervous now, and Naruto looked at her with a raised eyebrow. Really? What? Asked Naruto with his eyes on the blushing woman.
I'm pregnant, exclaimed Haku happily and Naruto looked at her in shock before a smile grew on his face.
I'm going to be a father, stated Naruto in a whisper, but his face showed he was indeed happy, and excited with such news. Yes, said Haku while she saw in the corner of her eye Zabuza struggling to get free from the mountain of paperwork he was buried under to no doubt unleash his fury onto the blonde for getting the girl he considered a daughter pregnant. Today is truly a great day to be blessed by so many things in life, said Naruto before kissing Haku on the lips passionately. Hey. Save it for when we are at home and away from the angry surrogate father-in-law you have for a Mizukage, exclaimed Anko while Zabuza finally got out of the pile of paperwork that apparently not so much buried him, but rather was trying to eat the man alive, and the demon of the mist was looking to unleash his ever-protective fatherly anger out on Naruto for making him a grandfather. Surrogate grandfather, but a grandfather all the same. He wasn't ready to be considered that old in his life. You knocked her up? Exclaimed Zabuza while his sword was in hand ready to swing. Knocked up is such an ugly word. I was thinking along the lines of us, making love to make a baby. It sounds more natural and pleasing to the ears, don't you all agree? Replied Naruto with the women around him nodding. Much better than Zabuza's choice of words, replied Mei while wishing she was in Haku's current position. Well, you're not going to be able to make love to her or the others once I chop off your junk, exclaimed Zabuza before taking a swing at Naruto, who used the force to stop the sword from hitting male pride. Now you're just being stupid, replied Naruto before using the force to lift Zabuza's sword out of the man's hand and threw it out the window. No. My sword. Stay where you are so when I get back I can hurt you, yelled Zabuza before leaping out the window and those in the room just sweat dropped. Much to learn Zabuza still has. Does anyone feel like listening to him? Asked Naruto with a raised eyebrow. No, was the answer from his lovely ladies. Me neither. Let's all go home so I can take a much needed shower and you can all tell me what's happened since I was gone. And no Anko, you can't join me in the shower. You too Mei, said Naruto with Anko snapping her fingers and Mei pouting with the sound of a whine being heard from the red-haired woman. The red-haired woman really wanted her fun time with Naruto. Namikaze Estate sometime later Naruto sighed, as he mediated in the gardens, finding the tranquility of his surroundings helped his focus on channeling the force. After many days being in bed with the lovely ladies of his family, Naruto managed to get out of bed, bathe, eat, and get to work on his studies in the way Master Revan had taught him. The Jedi Master had been ruthless in his teachings when it came to powers, knowledge of the Force, and lightsaber techniques not seen for several millennia. Naruto had shown Revan the power of chakra and his own ability to make shadow clones so he could learn to do multiple things at once. Revan was pleased by this, surprised by the appearance of chakra, and wondered if it was the Force simply mutating or even evolving into something else. Not that it mattered since the two could be used separately and to the blonde's advantage when fighting the Akatsuki when they came for him. In fact, Naruto was wondering if he should propose to Zabuza a radical alternative to this situation, and simply expand the horizon of this world by introducing new things to it. And by new things Naruto meant introducing the elemental countries to the new republic if not the galaxy at large. Naruto knew introducing Zabuza, Haku, and the others along with the entire world to the galaxy above was something that would no doubt be terrifying. Every country would be scrambling to be the most technologically advanced power to claim supremacy over the world in order to use that newfound authority to expand their horizons upward. A new all-out war would be upon the world before any form of galactic government like the Republic or even the Empire, if it were still around, could make their presence known on this planet. There was also the matter of Jedi Master Revan's holocron and keeping it in his possession, knowing it could be put to better use within the Jedi Order. During his training with Revan, Naruto had spent his time using the Force to gaze into the life of the galaxy he had left behind to come back to his planet, and see what had transpired since the Emperor's death. As expected, Darth Vader had abandoned the Sith Order, and his late master's dark side influence from his person. Also, it was clear that Vader had found the information Naruto had researched in secret to healing the man's injuries he suffered years ago, and was no longer considered what many would call half a man in terms of his crippling condition. Now Vader was whole, his flesh healed, his face no longer pale, and was with his son after sending agents to Tatooine, and keeping Obi-Wan Kenobi away from Luke so the former Sith Lord could see him in person. Looking at the events that transpired through the Force, Naruto saw Luke was surprised to see Vader, who now calling himself Anakin Skywalker once more, and saw the reunion was heartfelt for the most part. Apparently the Lars weren't exactly thrilled to see Anakin, and Owen Lars tried to scare him away with no success. Not surprising since Anakin Skywalker was a hero of the Clone Wars, fought in many incursions behind enemies' lines, had been in life-threatening situations, and had been nearly killed after on multiple occasions. A farmer wielding an old blaster rifle wasn't going to do much against someone with the power to crush your windpipe with a single flex of the hand when calling on the Force. As things progressed, Anakin crushed the blaster rifle itself with the Force instead of his stepbrother's throat, and continued to talk to Luke. The boy wanted to know what had become of his father, and Anakin answered, though it pained him to do so, knowing the truth would hurt Luke in knowing he was once Darth Vader. Luke for his part was very shocked and appalled at first to hear that part of his father's life. Who wouldn't be? Still, the boy had inherited his mother's forgiving and loving nature. The former queen turned senator of Naboo was well known for during her years of service. Luke could tell despite his lack of training in the ways of the Force that his father's intentions in seeking him out were pure and true and wanting them to be a family again. Anakin was also slowly changing the Empire into a new republic, as he wished to honor his late wife, and bring back the democracy she loved so much. He even pardoned the Jedi of all the trumped-up charges against them, even revealing the truth about the late Emperor being a Sith Lord, and how the man had orchestrated certain things to cause the Republic's downfall while using the Clone Wars as a means to make the Empire possible. Not to mention use the war to get the parts needed for the super laser of the Death Star, which Anakin had decommissioned, the plans for the space station destroyed, and the dreaded super laser being broken beyond repair. As it stood, Anakin Skywalker was returning the galaxy back to the way it should have been, and wanted his son to be a part of it by becoming a Jedi like himself. Naruto smiled at seeing Luke's reaction at the offer and accepting despite Owen's protest that the boy should stay on the desert planet to be a moisture farmer like himself. By this point, Obi-Wan Kenobi arrived, having gotten around Anakin's agents, but realized he was too late to stop the two from meeting, and the older Jedi wondered how things would play out between them now. Former master and student staring at each other. Not since that time so many years ago did they meet, and the memory of Anakin burning nearly to death played out in Kenobi's mind. It was clear Anakin had no love for his old master. The man just couldn't hate Kenobi anymore, and told the man to leave his family alone. To stay on this planet in exile or do something else with his life. Anakin didn't care so long as the man didn't try to influence his son into hating him for what he once was in life. Obi-Wan himself was surprised since he half expected Anakin would try getting his revenge on him using his newly restored state of health. Still, Naruto was disappointed in Obi-Wan after the Jedi Master brought out his lightsaber, preparing to do battle with his old student to save Luke from his father's dark influence, and the older man was surprised that the boy stood by Anakin's side. Anakin had discreetly moved his son away from him so his lightsaber could be brought out and prepared to duel his former Jedi Master once more. Luke had pleaded with Obi-Wan to stop this nonsense, but the aged Jedi wouldn't listen, and two warriors did battle on the sandy battlefield that was the Lars homestead. Surprisingly to most, Anakin was not the aggressor in the fight, and had several chances to kill Obi-Wan at multiple points in their duel. It was only when the former Jedi and former Sith Lord knocked the lightsaber away to have his old Jedi Master at his mercy did breaths really catch in their throat. I'm no longer your enemy, Obi-Wan. I have a new purpose in life, and that purpose is to be with my son. I am going to be the father I was denied for so long. The Jedi are no longer considered the enemies of the galaxy, and several have already returned to Coruscant to rebuild the Jedi Order. My son will be among them. Leave me to do what the Force has decreed, Obi-Wan, for if you defy it any further, I will kill you. With his mind now spoken, Anakin turned his lightsaber off. The Sith blade had yet to be replaced with a Jedi one due to his constantly busy schedule, and the man was hoping his time spent with his son's training would help him do just that. Walking back to his son, Anakin was wrapped in a hug from the boy, who thanked him for not killing Obi-Wan, and further proving he wasn't the monster the galaxy made the man out to be for well over a decade. The two walked away from the Lars homestead to the shuttle, much to the shock of the boy's aunt, uncle, and the Jedi Master on the ground, seeing this with pure disbelief in his eyes. Since then, Naruto could see Anakin's struggles were a bit uphill, even with the return of the Jedi Order, with the man becoming a Jedi Master under the new Jedi Council made from the various Jedi Masters that came back to Coruscant. Many of the Emperor's loyal followers had tried to stop the new age of the Jedi Order from arising, but Anakin, with the help of several Jedi Masters and the clone troopers of the 501st, were able to stop them from succeeding. The Senate was having its power restored, and a new Supreme Chancellor in the form of Bail Organa was appointed to keep the Republic from turning into the tyrannical monstrosity the man's predecessor turned it into before becoming an emperor. There was also the matter of Anakin finding out about Leia being his daughter, which he learned about from Starkiller, who had told Anakin that the girl's Force presence while masked was similar to Luke's own, and it made the man suspicious. Using some of his agents from the days of being a Sith Lord, Anakin was able to get a blood sample the Organa royal family had on file regarding Leia, and ran it against his own after making sure to check for every possible way it could have been altered. Sure enough, Leia was his daughter just as Luke was his son, and decided to bring this to the growing woman's attention with her adopted father in the Chancellor's office. It was a shock to Leia's mind of it. There was no doubt when Naruto saw the events unfold in his mind, and Bail Organa had tried to explain why he had done it. Leia had loved her adopted father, but the entire time he had lied to her, and hated those that couldn't speak the truth because it bred dishonesty which led to corruption. She also was a bit concerned about her now biological father doing something rash against Bail for keeping it a secret for so long, but strangely enough the former Sith Lord wasn't focused on her, and offered to help his daughter control the power laying dormant deep within. Naruto saw Leia was hesitant to accept, and Bail was fearful since he was afraid the girl he had raised like his own would become a Sith Lord like her biological father. However, Anakin had sensed this, and stated that Jedi General Ram Koda would be the one to help teach Leia while he himself would be training Luke. Koda had already finished Starkiller's training just last year, and the need to revive the Jedi Order's ranks required those masters that came back to train students as soon as possible while making sure not to go too fast. Anakin figured that Leia would learn well under Koda and that she would become a great Jedi with his unique insight in life. Naruto was pleased to see Leia, after thinking the offer over, accept the offer Anakin had made, and become a Jedi like her father. However, just because the ranks of the revived Jedi Order was once more flourishing again, the knowledge they once possessed during the height of their time was either lost, or destroyed during the purges. Some of it was successfully retrieved, but not all of it, and the gap needed to be filled in order to prepare the next generation of Jedi. Naruto knew what he had to do. If only to make sure Revan's holocron was able to reach the Jedi Temple and the man was able to pass down what he taught Naruto to the other Jedi so they could grow stronger from it. With that in mind, Naruto called upon the Force to his being, feeling the cosmic energy weave around him in a fluid tapestry of sorts. The blonde reached out to the one Jedi he could trust, and ensure this item would reach the Jedi Council on Coruscant. I wasn't sure you would come here, considering our brief history together when we last met, stated Naruto, while the form of Galen Marek aka Starkiller appearing from the shadows wearing Jedi Knight robes with armor in certain places that would give added protection. I spoke to Koda and Juno about it. They felt this was something that couldn't be ignored. Not when the holocron you spoke of to me is considered irreplaceable to the Jedi Order, stated Galen with Naruto smirking at him when standing up to face the man. How is Juno? Asked Naruto calmly while Galen smiled at him. She's happy to be part of something she can believe in again. After what happened with her being labeled a traitor to the Empire by Vader and then with what happened on the Death Star, stated Galen with Naruto nodding. I understand. I was against the whole idea of you being used by them like that. I also bet you were surprised at how strong Anakin was when fully healed, replied Naruto, and Galen nodded. Yeah. I thought he was strong before when he was still in that armor, but now he's simply edible, exclaimed Galen with Naruto nodding in agreement. Yeah. Anakin Skywalker is something. Which is why he and the other Jedi Masters will appreciate this item, said Naruto before showing Galen the Jedi holocron in his hand.
Is that?
Asked Galen, wondering if it was indeed the holocron of Jedi Master Revan.
Yes.
The Jedi holocron of Jedi Master Revan himself is in my hands. Take this treasure of Jedi treasures to Coruscant where it belongs. Take it to the Jedi Council. Let them bask in the man's wisdom and the knowledge he gained from his many years of experience to further strengthen their connection to the Force. I sense only through this holocron will the Jedi Order be able to return to its former stature in the galaxy, stated Naruto before putting the holocron in Galen's hands. You could have kept this a secret. Even destroyed it. Why haven't you? Stated Galen, and the blonde smirked at him. Because that would be wrong. Revan's knowledge is to be shared with the Jedi. To do otherwise is wrong and goes against the will of the Force. The last time that happened was before you were born, and the Jedi fell to the powers of the dark side, replied Naruto with his tone becoming sad in the end. I don't follow, said Galen with a frown. Ask Anakin when you get back. He'll tell you what I'm talking about, replied Naruto, and the Jedi Knight nodded. What happened to your ship, if I may ask? Questioned Galen, and Naruto smiled softly. I destroyed it. At the time, this world was not ready for such technological advances that would destroy this world. But now, things have changed in my mind, replied Naruto, and Galen thought for a moment. When I hand this to Anakin, I'll request leave to return, bring an extra ship, and help you with your problems here since I sense something sinister on this planet is coming. You will need my help, stated Galen, and Naruto smiled. I'm honored. Please do return if and when you can. I'd be honored to fight beside you when the time comes, said Naruto, and the two shook hands before Galen left. Mizukage Tower, so you called in help from your friends far, far away? Asked Zabuza after hearing what Naruto did, and the blonde had a sweat drop form in the back of his head at the way he said it. Do you have to say things like that? Considering they have the power to crush objects, move said objects gently or violently, and can invade your mind while making you do things against your will, I would think you would have a great deal of respect for the Jedi Order, replied Naruto, with Zabuza grumbling a bit. Yeah, well, seeing is believing, so until these guys prove to me they are hot shit, I'm not going to be impressed, stated Zabuza, with Naruto smirking at him. The one that is coming here again is very powerful. Trust me. You'll be impressed when he arrives, answered Naruto, knowing how Starkiller, or rather Galen Marek, would make Zabuza pee himself at seeing the Jedi Knight unleash his power upon their enemies. Naruto almost laughed out loud when picturing Zabuza fainting at the sight of Galen Marek bringing down a Victory-class Star Destroyer down from high orbit. Thanks for listening, and remember, the disrespect is real. Goodbye.